Good morning. We're in week 4, as you know, and today is Wednesday, so your bell work should be at the bottom of week 4 page bell work. All bell work is due at the end of the marking period. Let's take a look at today's lesson here. Copy and try. This is called an oblique cylinder, oblique because it's leaning, but it's still the same formula, believe it or not. So the base, big B, is pi radius squared. That's the area of the base times the height. The height is 10. Pi is 3.14. The radius you're going to write twice. And in this case, the radius is 5. So it's 5 times 5. So you get your calculator out. 5 times 5 is 25 times 10 is 250. And then times 3.14. And your answer is 785 cubic inches because it's volume. Volume is 3-dimensional. Now let's keep moving. Now I didn't really teach you percentages, but I'm going to now. So look up here. Memorize this chart. Okay, it's either going to go 2 places this way or 2 places that way. For example, if I say 5.7 and I want to change it to a percent. I take my decimal and I move it to the right 2 places and say 570%. On the other hand, if it is a percent, like 5.7%, it is a percent, even though it has a decimal, I still move it to the left 2 places. So it becomes 0.057 as a decimal. Okay, make sure you know that. So look at this one right here. We need to change this to a decimal. And you say, well, it's already a decimal. True, but we want to get rid of the percent. So we're going to go 2 places this way. So it's 0.16 or 0.165. Of means multiply, so times 200. And then you use your calculator. Okay? This one right here, your 7% tax, well, 7%, your decimal's there when you don't see it, so it becomes 0.07 times 50. Okay? So 50 times 0.07 gives me $3.50 tax. Okay? All right, the total price would be $50 plus the tax. So it's going to be $53.50. Memorize that chart. Put away your bell work. Copy this down on a new sheet of paper. Put down section 2.1. We're going in to chapter 2. So take a look here. An equation has an equal sign. Make sure you know that. An expression has no equal sign. Write that down. Is 6 a solution? Well, there's 2 ways you can do it. Number 1, you can plug it in. Does that equal 2 times 6? Draw your line. I use 3 lines to say we're trying to compare. Okay, that's just what I do. So that's 18 minus 5. Is that equal to 12? That's 13, and 13 is not equal to 12. So 6 is not a solution. That's one way to do it. The second way to do it is to actually work it out. So draw your line. You have x's here and x's here. You can't combine them because they're on separate sides. So you want to go after the 2x. That's a plus, so you want to do a minus 2x. So that gives me x minus 5 is equal to 0. Don't be afraid to write 0. And then I add 5. The solution here is 5, not 6. Okay? Make sure you understand that. That's called variables on both sides. Let's keep moving. I want you to work all 5 of those. So right now, take a minute, copy them down, and work all 5 of those. Well, to do that, you draw your line. You add 5. This is easy. So you get x equals 7. That one's done. This one, you're going to add 5, and you're going to get 2x is equal to 7. Then you're going to divide by 2, and you get 7 over 2. This one, you got variables on both sides. 2x is smaller, so you want to subtract 2x from both sides. That cancels. So you get negative 5 is equal to 4 minus 2 is 2x plus 6. Draw your line. Circle your variable. You want to subtract 6 and get negative 11 and then divide by 2. This one's a little more work. Okay, make sure you understand that. If you don't, raise your hand and I'll go over it with you. Put a star by that. You got to know how to do that. You have that, by the way, in geometry. Look at the next one. The next one, you're dividing by 7. The opposite of dividing is multiplying. So you multiply and you get 70. This one right here, you divide by 2. Well, you see how you're dividing by 2? You want to put the 2 at the bottom. So you're going to get x equals 2 over 6, which equals 1/3. Divide by 2 and reduce it. So it equals 1/3. Okay? So if you're dividing by 2, it goes on the bottom. You already had a 3, so 3 times 2 is 6. All right, let's talk about percentages again. There's a formula, is over of equals percent over 100. Write that down. Now, I don't always use that, but I'm showing it to you just in case, okay? So here's your percent. 1 divided by 4 is 0.25. So you're going to say the is, or the percent rather here, the percent is 6 1/4 or 6.25 over 100. Here's my of, okay, of that. So that goes down here, so 8,500. We're looking for the is, so put an X right there. I'm dividing by 8,500, so I want to just multiply. So it's going to be x equals 6.25 times 8,500 divided by 100. Okay, that's the way you do it with the formula. Okay? If you don't want to use the formula, you can just take 6.25%, change it to a decimal. It becomes 0.0625, and then of means multiply times 8,500. Okay, so you can do it either way. I don't care. You probably should know both ways. Look at this one. Is over of equals percent over 100. Write that down, memorize it. Put a star by that. Here's your percent, 45%. So put 45 over 100. And here's my is. So the is goes up here. So put 405. We're looking for the of. We're going to cross multiply. So you're going to get 100 times that. So it's going to be 405. And then you're going to add 2 zeros when you multiply by 100. And you're going to get 45x, and then you divide by 45. Now, when you work these percentages, I want you to check your answers because I want you to know how to do it. If you need help, ask, okay? Remember, this is all about learning. This is all about you. Here's your assignment. Write that down because I'm going to move it. All right, now I'm going on to geometry. Okay, hello again, welcome. Again, this is week 4. Make sure you put a name, date, and period. And this one goes at the bottom of your bell work. This says bisect. Do you know what the word bisect means? Bisect means cut in half. Okay, now the way the guy did it in the video, he measured this distance, and then he marked this distance. He put the point here, and he marked it here. And then he put the point here, and he marked it here. And where they crossed was the midpoint. So this, let's say it's 20 degrees, would be equal to this, 20 degrees. Bisect means cut in half. Write that down. Cut in half. Exactly half, okay? Make sure you know that word, bisect. This one right here is variables on both sides. Draw your line. No, you cannot add these up because they're on separate sides. But this one's smaller. You want to go after the smaller one, which is what I'm doing. So you get 6 equals 3x, 7 minus 4. And now it's a two-step equation. So you should know how to do this. So you're going to add 4 to both sides and get 10 is equal to 3x, and then divide by 3. And you get 10 over 3. And we'll leave it like that. Any questions on this? So we learned bisect, and we learned how to solve variables on both sides. You go after the smaller one. On a new sheet of paper, copy this down. Okay, all angles in a triangle add up to 180. So if you have a triangle, this one, and this one all add up to 180. So if this one is 60, this one is 60, this one has to be 60, because 60 times 3 is 180. All right, take a look at this one. This one right here, it all adds up to 180. So I subtract 20, I subtract 30, and whatever's left is my answer. That's 50, so it's got to be 130. Now, even though this is 130 degrees, that is not a 130 degree angle. A 130 degree angle looks more like this, because here's 90. So 130 would be about there. And 180 is a straight line. Okay, so make sure you understand that the diagram's not right, but the answer is correct. Okay, take a look at number 2. The way you work this one is, you notice that this is vertical, straight across. So put a Y right here. These are the same. What you're going to do is know that every triangle is 180. So this is 60 and 60, so this one's got to be 60, because it's got to add up to 180. Okay? And then right across is also 60, because it's vertical. So here's another triangle, so that's 180. So that's 60 and 40 makes 100. So this one's got to be 80 degrees. Any questions on how to work that problem? We used vertical angles to get from this triangle to that triangle. All right, look at the next one. There's something called the exterior angle theorem. Okay, this is called an exterior angle because it's on the outside. All right, so the exterior angle theorem, write this down. Exterior angle theorem says that the exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two remotes. These angles right here are way away, so they're called remotes. So that's a remote, and that's a remote. Okay, remote, remote. So this angle is equal to the sum of these two. So 20 plus 30 makes 50. So this one's got to be 50 degrees by the exterior angle theorem. Okay, now here's what some kids do. Watch. Some kids forget about the exterior angle theorem. Now you need to know it. That's why I'm teaching it to you. All right, but let's say you're looking for this. Same problem. I know that every triangle is 180. So this is 50, so this has to be 130, even though it's not drawn right. And I know that every line is 180. Every line is 180, so this has to be 50. And it is 50 because 20 plus 30 is 50. Okay, and these are called adjacent and supplementary. Make sure you know that. Adjacent and supplementary. When they're side by side, they are adjacent, write that down, and supplementary. And supplementary means they add up to 180. All right, keep paying attention. Okay, draw those two diagrams. All right, here's how you do this. You know that every triangle is 180. So put 180 here. I'm going to do this one first. So I add this up, I get 120. And I subtract 120 from this, and I get 70. So Z is 70 degrees. If this is 50, and this line right here is worth 180, the line is 180, then this angle right here has to be 130, because 130 plus 50 equals 180. These two are vertical. They're right across. So this one is 130. And that's how you do that problem. Okay, vertical angles. Now, what do you know about an exterior angle and an interior angle? They always add up to 180. Write that down. Always add to 180. They are supplementary. Make sure you know that word, just like you need to know bisect. Is your assignment, okay? Make sure you try your best. If you need some help, ask. Okay, if it's not a good time to ask a question, skip it and come back to it. Okay? All right, good luck, and I'll see you guys in class.